to be. Now we're at our length we want. Now we can come back around in front. So now we're here. Hit our upper button. There's our drop. There's our piece of laminate at 65. And there again, here's our button. Light's red indicating the fence is, in the field of work. Hit that, and that's bringing our fence back. Anytime we use melamine, or if we do something in a laminated blank, plywood, anything that's either decorative or has a surface that'll blow out and chip, we're going to go to cut the length. We're going to go back to measuring. And I'm going to take this down to a 1/2 inch trim using the measuring, and we'll stick our, I'm going to change this to 6 inches long. And so right now I'm going to cut 3 pieces at 6 inches long. With just the saw blade. Our 3 pieces with just, that's not as bad as it can be sometimes with a dull blade, but that's chipped up. Now this button up here, right next to our main saw blade, that's the scoring saw blade. Now since I've already got, this is all still sitting here at 6 inches, 3 pieces, I hit this bar again, and now it's going to do the same thing, except now it's got the score set. So there's 3 pieces without the score saw, 3 pieces with it. So that's why we use the score saw. Plywood will tear like this, laminate will chip. So that's typically the only time you run the score saw is on something that's decorative or that will tear like that. These buttons up here, this button right here, these buttons up here are normally on. That one right there adjusts to the height of the part that makes sure the saw blade projects if you're cutting something thin, you don't want the blade coming all the way up through and sticking. That right there reads how thick the part is, and it only brings the saw up to a safe point above it. No, anything on here, like anything on here will toggle on and off. That's
the saw.
Yeah. Yeah, with that on it, that actually it only projects the saw. It's programmed in to be a certain amount above your board.
Automatic.
Yeah. Just for if we were doing a large panel. You get doing a full sheet. Like you get a full sheet, especially 1 1/8" or something, it's hard to slide on the table. This part of this button out here, lower right corner, that's the air table. So if you got that comes in pretty handy on a full sheet. I mean, we typically we don't use it as much if we got into something that we were doing a large run of just one size part. Like if we had a job that we were going to do, we were going to take 4x8 sheets and cut them into 6" by 8" parts, and the whole thing was going to be just a grid work. There is one program here. There's this single part, and it's already set. There's a sheet size up here, 96/48, and I could come up here and say, okay, out of our width we can get 6 inches. We'll say 7 times the length here. We can get and it would actually it's a program that would come up and it would actually, but this thing here is only good for one. You can't have multiple size parts in this here. So unless we were doing something, we had something like that, and it's like, hey, we want to take all these sheets and cut them up into strips. But this here is only good for just basically you say, hey, I want a length and width of this part, and basically it just does like a grid based on what size you want. So yeah, so mainly fixed position and cut to length are our two things. One other thing, I'm going to turn the saw back on just for this purpose. This button on the right, yeah, notice that, man, I'll even, so right now both the score blade and the main blade are on, but this button right here in the middle that's got the saw with that squiggly S right there, I'm going to hit that, and you notice that the saw is both shut off. What that is, that's blade change mode. And